Thanks so much. Can everybody hear me? Great. The reason I wanted to give this talk is probably this movie. Has anybody, if you're familiar, let's hope that it works. Okay. Well, not working. How about return? Well, next. Well, it isn't working for me, and I apologize. Anyway, let's just go on. Bottom line is, the reason I love this thing, I don't know if anybody remembers this episode. It's a great episode. If you've never watched Friends, please go out and view it. Bottom line is, you got Ross trying to put a sofa up this stairwell. He's got Monica and Chandler, and the bottom line is they're not getting anywhere. And you're hearing a lot of issues of going back and forth. And it's about communication, and it's about, I got a plan. I got a great plan. Ross is telling him, I have written out a sketch. Follow the sketch. Problem is, the sketch just doesn't work. So in a lot of things, what we find out is that when we're working in teams and we're working with different kinds of people, a lot of times we get in these ideas and we think, oh, we got this great plan and it's going to be fantastic. But what we don't always think about is, who are all the players? Do we really know who we are? And so some of the things I'm going to be talking about today is some of the things I've had to learn over really 40 years of working not only in and around the profession in hospital settings, working with arts and the handicapped, working in camps, being art instructors, all these different things. They actually give you a lot of insight into one, who you are, but then also into how things change and how we have to adapt to change. So some of the things that I like to talk about is, this conversation has gone on for many years. This goes back to 5th BC, where they were asking the question, what, the philosophers talking about, what is it all about? One of the things I've actually learned in life is, you better know who you are. What are the things that are important to you? So, do you know your history? Where do you come from? Who are the people who've influenced you? What are your core values? What motivates you? Not only acknowledging your strengths, because we always say, we go to the job and we say, we are fantastic. Let me tell you, you want to hire me. But we also need to be aware that we also have weaknesses. And in those weaknesses, I found that's when you're looking to your team players to actually assist you, because you can't do it all. And so some of the things that I think and that I continue to see as we even educate, as we ask individuals to learn, as I look at our environment, how fast life moves nowadays, how much we are on social media and we're comparing. Some of the things that I'm going to be talking about today is how important you are, what you bring to the table, how you're unique, but also how we need to also be mindful of others. Oh, it's not coming up. So I'm going to talk about tribes. Why tribes? Because I think community is important. This meeting is important. One of the things that I noticed when I was teaching, I also work with the College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies. It's a very new college. We've been working on that for the past 3 years. I sit now on 4 different curriculum committees. We're talking about things that integrate with other colleges. We're not just thinking individually. We're thinking about what's the commonality across these different areas. So one of the things that brought up was, and you will see, I have this little sticker that I keep posted on my laptop, because we talk about certificate. What's a certificate? Familiarity, a minor, fluency, a major, expertise, graduate, specialization. But we also talk about collaboration and why it's so important to be thinking to cross-cultural each other. And that's why I love exploring different avenues. I like thinking about where medical illustration, where my background and my interests can take, and how it can also gel in other areas, not just in very specific ways, because every place that I've been, I've usually been the one and done. And I also know that if I didn't have core people in this interest in this field to bounce ideas off of and help me, I wouldn't be able to do the job where I am in at that present time. So I always like to think about who's on your team, what is your role. I have to always think about that one because sometimes I can get a little outside those bounds. What is my role? What does that team really need me to do? How much time do we have? What is our actual focus? What do you know? We talk about this when I'm moderating a group of DVM students, and we have a thing called application-based learning, and we have a case study, and that case study goes over a week. And as a moderator, it's not me to help them figure out the problem. I am there to assist them to work through the problem. So a lot of the things that we ask is, what do you know? Okay, are you asking the right questions? What don't you know? What do you need to figure out? Then we ask them to research what kind of diagnostics, what kind of skills you need, what other tests do you need. We ask them then to research again and continue to refine, and then to clarify, then to make a diagnosis, right? Here's the thing, we need to do that also with ourselves. Every time there's a change, culturally, technologically, environmentally, what are we going to do? How do we pivot? How do we adapt? There are other tribes. Yes, medical illustration is important, but I will tell you, a lot of the ways that I have grown and a lot of the ways I've stretched and a lot of the ways that I bring things back is because I love to ask questions. I'm the kid, when I think about who I am as myself, they basically thought that, when I came out, I was supposed to be a boy because I was kicking and screaming in the womb. So I tend to like to be looking at different things. What's the risk? I like to see what's on that edge, but sometimes there's also things that you also have to be thoughtful on when you're on that edge. And so it's also important to have other interests. What are those things that balance you out, all right? What are your other connections? One of the things the reason I talk about this is also, again, I'm going to refer back to the class that we were teaching on designing gamecraft. And what I was seeing, and the reason I taught and I wanted to teach the undergraduate level is because some of the things and the dynamics that I was seeing in our class structure at the vet school was that it used to be if I could ask a student to go out and say, okay, we've got open house, here's an exhibit, your area is going to be, you've said your interest is, let's say, dermatology, or your interest is in equine surgery, come up. What is one item you want to teach the general public? The age range I want you to focus on is 6 to 12. You got to take medical ease and you got to bring it down so it's comprehensible to someone at that level. Some of them would just go off like that. Other ones were deer in headlights. What stops people? Why does fear stop people? Is it because they're overwhelmed? Is it because there's so much stuff coming at us nowadays? I wanted to think about that and I wanted to know why. So, what I have noticed, and I'm not saying this is observational, this is not data generated, but some of the things that I do think after COVID and a lot of things is we lost this interpersonal interaction, okay? The social media and the phone became our primary focus. We were teaching all online. What I found the students said to me in my Gamecraft course is I was saying, you know what, I want you to work in teams. We're going to work off whiteboards, and you're going to see your work. I made sure that that classroom, those whiteboards never got wiped off. I wanted them to understand that problem solving is not only collaborative, it is iterative. I wanted them to make changes. One of the things that I told them is I did not expect them within one semester to build an entire game. What I expected them from was the willingness to try. And I didn't care if they failed. What I wanted to see is I wanted to see progress from A to B. And if I saw that, that meant everything to me. I would rather see somebody fail, but fail greatly and learn something. And those are the things that I fear we have forgotten. It's okay to fall down. It's okay to scrape our knees. It's okay. Yes, it hurts. But you know what? The hurt will heal. We have to have our support. We have to have our community. We have to show up for each other. What does healthy mean to you? It's going to mean different things for different people. I will say, for me, it took a long time to come up with some of those skill sets. How do you keep a strong mindset? I think it's crucial. Rest is important. Life is going to hit you in many ways. Somebody's going to take that artwork that you worked so hard and you researched on. I've seen it many a time, okay? Worked really, really hard. Figured out a new way, a new perspective, a new way to illustrate something. And somebody says, oh, I like that. I'll just flip it. I'll take that name off. It's mine. Have I heard it? Yes. Have I fought a lot for copyright? Yes. Have I worked with attorneys over the years at the university? Yes. I will tell you that contract continues to change as technology changes. Law is always behind technology, and technology is going to continue to push the issue. The other reason I look at the different things is, how do we take the time to assess and make questions? When life gives you lemons, and life will give you lemons, okay? You can have loss of health, you can have loss of finances, you can have loss of family and friends. Experience them all. You have a choice, okay? I've always said you can lose one, you still keep going. You lose two, it's a little tough. You can lose three, and you might be down for a while, but your choice is, what am I going to do? For me, I believe in a faith. I have a bias toward that, but I also believe everybody has a choice, and it's free will. Everybody comes to it with whatever that it takes. But I do believe that each one of you has very distinct value. And what you bring to the table is where you are at that present time in that day where you're planted. So don't forget, you contribute, and it's important. Okay, we've all had those bad days. I mean, crushing days. Didn't do well. Here's my thing. I have learned that when life really, really gets tough, I used to get very, very upset. And sometimes I found out I wasted way too much energy that I could be putting into how do I solve the problem. But here's the other thing. It's really important to know that it's okay to be upset. And it's okay to have emotions. And it's okay because you're human. So I give myself 3 days. Day one, I can cry. Granted, I'm going to be in a corner, in a room by myself, and I'm going to get those emotions out. Why? Because you know what? I got to get them out of the way. Number two, I might really get angry. I might be seriously pissed off. Do I want to take it out on someone else? No, I do not. Sometimes I got to close the door at the office because somebody has just been really nasty to me, or a student has just reamed me really good. And I sit there and think, how am I going to handle that one? You know what? Don't react. Be kind. Be kind. Because the bottom line is, they might be having a bad day too. The third day, make a plan. And when I say make a plan, make a plan. Don't sit down and say, oh, life sucks. No. There are days life does suck. But you know what? There's also something around the corner. So make a plan. What can you do that's going to flip that switch, going to make that project better, going to make you feel better, and make you understand that you have value, because you do. I've got, well, hello. Develop healthy habits. This one took, again, a long time for me to learn. Come from a very work ethic family, okay? But it's always good, again, to have that outside community to remind you that you gotta have balance, right? And I don't mean that you get that 50-50% balance. Life is not 50-50. There are days you're given 100%, maybe 110%, and you might get 25% back. There might be days where you can only give 25% because there's other stuff that's pulling at you. Again, remember, here are a few things to think about. You need some goals. Journal. Journal's great. It helps you purge some things that gives you ideas. What are things that I'm really interested in? Or here are ways I can be creative. Do something physical. You don't have to be the top marathon runner. You don't have to, swim the channel. But there's something about getting out, walking, talking, being with others that's going to make you have a better mindset so that if there is a problem that you're having difficulty solving, it will help you solve it. Do one thing a month for you. I learned that from the book called The Artist's Way. Sometimes our projects get in the way and we think, oh, we have to make that deadline. We do, and I'm not saying we don't. But at some point, you do have to do something for you. Make sure there's one thing you do a month. And what I do for myself at work, because I don't get to illustrate that much anymore, but if I do get a chance, I pick that project. And I say, you know what? I'm going to do more on this project, and I'm going to remember what I was trained to do. Okay? Know your worth. When I say know your worth, my dad told me that. Life had been sort of crappy one day, and Dad said to me, know your worth. Worth is not about financial being. Worth is knowing that you are important, that you are loved, that you are cared for, and that is just as important as anything that you create and you produce. You have value. What are you supposed to say? Mom, very much, please and thank you. Don't forget to say thank you. There are people in this world that I would not be here without the other people that helped me get here. I always say I had 3 dads. My dad, I had Craig Gosling, and I had Professor Hodge. And each one of those always reminded me that maybe I wasn't the best in the class, but that I could contribute and I could get better. And that is all that it makes the world go round. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I've had that around since probably I was in my teens, and the reason I like that is it reminds you that, you know what, if you don't try something, you're never going to find out anything. You know what, give it a go. Hey, I tried gymnastics. I suck at gymnastics. You never want to see me there. But I tried. Why? Because why not? Things that I love. Why do I play sports? Because I love people. Am I ever going to be the top basketball player? No, I'm 5'5", never going to be a center. Let's be honest about it. But will I try? Sure, why not? Have I played softball? You bet. Why? Again, because I love team sports. I love being around people. And that's, know yourself. Know what it is that gives you joy. Okay, and here's the other thing. There's going to be days when no matter what you do, and even if you're right, and I mean, you know you're right, the stats say you're right, but you're in a group that says, sorry, we're not doing it that way. Guess what? It's okay. What's your role? Change your attitude. Let it go. Find something else. Spend that energy. Put the time into it, what you're being asked to do, but then find that project where you can put that energy into, where it allows you to grow and you learn something. That was a hard lesson for me. I kept thinking I was going to win the world over. You're not going to win everybody over. It's okay. Like in sales, you can put the job out there. You can say, look, I'm talented. Yeah, you are. But here's the thing, maybe you're not what they need. And guess what? It's okay, because maybe right around the corner, there's a project waiting for you that will let you blossom and bloom. Again, pivot. If you're having a hard day, don't do it on your own. Seek counsel. There's nothing wrong with saying, I need help. Serving others. I think it's crucial. That's just personal bias, but I was brought up to leave it better than how you found it. Now, does it mean that everything you build is going to still be there? No, not really. We can look at things historically, right? Our buildings be built, they're beautiful buildings, but they get bulldozed, right? The work that you do, where you create something, you think, wow, longevity. No, the thing that I've learned is why it's important to serve others, and not just for the paycheck. And now we have statistics that say it. Guess what? Over 77% of volunteers found that it was beneficial to their mental health. 64% of employees across the world said they enjoyed better relationships with colleagues. Why do you think that is? I think it's because you're no longer looking at each other as someone where you got to either compete or you got to work together to find a project and you don't always get along. I think when you're serving somebody else and you have a common goal and you're not getting paid, your goal is to help something else greater than yourself. I think there's some beauty in that. There's a lot more statistics, and I'm not going to go into them all. Why I think servant leadership is important. I think we live in a world now where we forget what we're here for, right? We're here for each other, right? We want to make it a better world. So what we know is there's not only benefits, not only to volunteerism, that means it gives you job opportunities, right? Things that you might not have reached for, things that you didn't realize were there. The beauty of lifting someone else up means that, you know what? You don't have to be number one. Maybe you need to help somebody else be number one. Maybe that's our job. I've always said, whether I do a scientific poster session or I do an illustration, my job is to make you look better, right? It doesn't matter that I don't get the award. What matters is, did you help somebody else in that process to learn a concept, to develop an idea, to go further, to reach farther? Again, more statistics. And things that are the reason I say it's important. Of course you want to work with that person who's looking out for you, right? You want to be there. You want to build that. You want to make something better. So, and what I like, 30% faster problem solutions, isn't that a great idea? And 69% of employees report heightened psychological safety and inclusion. We live in a society anymore on social media telling us how different we are, how polarized we are, how awful we are. But the reality is, we're not awful. We just forgot to talk to each other. We got to forget to accept each other, that in our uniqueness, we make each other better. Have those conversations. You don't have to be mean about the conversations. You can agree. You can agree to disagree. Give a pass. I have a firm belief, and I do this with all my students. Guess what? If I've told you, here's what my expectations are out of you, and if there's something that I have missed, you can call me on it. One time it happened. I work with over 30 different clubs. In those student clubs, we have to deal with trademark and licensing if they want to sell product. I've got to deal with a lot of dynamics from all the way up the food chain, all the way down. You can't please everybody. Sometimes you got to be the meanie. Guess what? I sort of messed up one time. Student comes into my office and she's at the door. I'm on the second floor and she goes, "You're wrong, Deb. You're absolutely wrong." And I'm thinking, I'm in the middle of a project and I'm thinking, what did I do? What did I do that was wrong? And then at first I sort of got a little fancy and I was like, oh, that really upsets me. And then I thought, wait a minute. I told them, if I'm wrong, I told them they can tell me. So I took a pause and I said, tell me where I was wrong. What did I do? Well, Deb, you came back and you said this to me in an email. And if you remember, that is not right. I did give you that information. And I went, oh my gosh, you're right. I blew it. That's on me. Why giving a pass is important? Because it lets other people know you're human. You make mistakes. And when you acknowledge the fact that you make a mistake and you're willing to fix it, you build trust and you build a relationship. You should be building those relationships. So speak gratitude. Give yourself a break. You're going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Be honest. Be consistent. With me, I deal with faculty, staff, students. There's 1,000 people. Any one of them can come up to me and ask me for something. Be consistent. Whatever you tell a student, tell your faculty, tell your admin. Everybody knows where you stand. Everybody might not like you, but you're consistent. And with that, you also earn respect. All right? Be kind, but be consistent. Lend a hand. Don't think your title makes your title so important that you can't help somebody else out. If the trash needs to be taken out, take out the trash. If somebody needs, some help somewhere, help them out. If you've got time, why not? Isn't it more important that you work together to build a better project? And if you do that, you're going to win. Also, don't forget, find the humor. Find humor. You're going to fall down, laugh at yourself. Learned this from our veterinary social work. One of the things that we know in veterinary medicine is it has a very high incidence of suicide outside of other professions. We've seen it. I've seen it in my immediate family. One of the things is, the reason I speak on this is because when I tell people you have value, you do. People worry about their GPAs. Your GPA is not your worth. It just means you tested differently. I've seen people who have phenomenal GPAs, but you also get them down on the clinic floor, and it doesn't mean they're strong because they may not have great interpersonal skills. You have value. You were created to be the person that you are. So embrace it, accept it, but don't believe that you're everything either, right? Think about it. So is it true? When you're getting ready to talk to somebody, is it true? Is it fact, opinion, or how you feel? Is it helpful? Is it going to help the situation? Who's it going to help? You, them, or others? Is it inspiring? Did you think about something to fix that problem? Or did you even encourage somebody to get a little better? Most importantly, I have to remember this one. Is it really necessary? Sometimes we might think it, and again, we might be right. But do we need to really put it out there? Because is it really necessary? And the other thing, is it kind? What motivates you? I think all these are really crucial things. I have less than a minute. I know we're not going to get there, but I will say one thing. If you have never watched this video, it is by Admiral McRaven, and he was giving it to the University of Texas at Austin in 2014 at commencement. I've got it in our references, so I do encourage you to watch it. But the beauty of it is I remember early every day as a kid, my mom would say, before we got breakfast, "Did you make your bed?" Right? And there's something about making your bed. And one of the things he talks about is, you know what, when you make your bed, you can have a really bad day, but guess what? You've accomplished something that day. And even when you come back, and whether you've made progress that day or not, when you come home, guess what? You can look at that bed and say, hey, I accomplished something. And you can put yourself and you can go and rest. So again, the good things and the important things in life are, yes, your skill sets are so important. Your contributions are so great. And so tons of references. I could talk to you about social media. I could talk to you about the quality of life. I could talk to you about mental health. I could talk to you about how to know a person. It's a great book. I know I probably shouldn't be promoting it, but it's a great book. Read other things. Embrace your interests, okay? It will make you more creative. It will make you a better problem solver. And guess what? 16 seconds. I made it. Okay, Deb Haines, University of Tennessee at the vet school. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn. There's my work number. If you want to chat about anything, whether it's medical illustration, whether you want to talk about new technologies, whether it's about ethics of AI, whether it's copyright, we've got some other great people here who are more up to speed on that. Love to hear all your thoughts and your opinions. Thanks so much, and also thanks to the vet school and those students out there who've made me better than what I ever could be. Thank you.